Hello everyone, Kaylee here. It has been a hot minute, hasn't it? Convergent has been very busy lately, but while I was working on other projects, TwinMotion released a huge update with a refreshed UI. So I thought I would create this bonus episode to walk through some of the techniques that we covered in previous episodes. We'll take a CET project into TwinMotion and walk through the new UI neighborhood. First things first. Open up your Epic Games app on your computer and make sure you download the newest version, 2023.1. While that's installing, check out the system requirements to make sure your computer can handle the newest updates. Specifically, check out the graphics card requirements, as they have upgraded the path tracer, and this is what does all the heavy lifting. Next, let's hop into CET for a refresher on exports. If you have the CET TwinMotion extension, then you will set up a direct link. For this example, we're going to assume not having the extension, so we're going to export an FBX file type. Select FBX version 2019, make sure your level of detail is super, then click Export and save your file. Now open up TwinMotion. Things are definitely starting to look quite a bit different. There's some new fun templates, and I think imitating reality will have to come back for a season 2. Let's start by closing this template menu and starting off with a blank drawing. I feel in the world of software such as AutoCAD and CET and even TwinMotion, there are two types of people, button pushers and typers. If you're one that is a typer and you like those quick keys, you can head up to the Help menu and pull down the Shortcuts menu, select your language. There you'll find a PDF that shows you all of the hotkeys that you can use to help speed up your process. Some things are the same, but now we have some new locations for previous menus that we would click the More button previously. Our library is still on the left. Down below, we now have our main menus, which include Import, Materials, Populate, Media, and Export. We'll work through these menus, but the big UI difference is that all of our properties have moved to a new menu on the right side. Before, we would work through all the adjustments in the bottom area, but now it's moved over onto the right side. Another big move is the toolbar that used to reside near the middle of your screen has moved to the top. This toolbar contains your path tracer, eyedropper, and all your tools for moving, rotating, and scaling. We'll come back to all of these items too. Let's first import that CET model. Start by clicking on the Import button. Click on the plus sign, then locate your FBX file. Then click Open. In the Options menu, I like to select Keep Hierarchy. You can collapse by material, but if you do, this will group items with the same material. By keeping the hierarchy, I find moving and selecting items to be easier within your scene tree. After clicking Import, I will typically get the Material Conflict dialog. Here, I select Keep Both as to retain any custom colors or JPEGs I may have placed in CET. Once you've imported your model, locate it in your Scene menu and select Zoom to Selection. By clicking on the eyeball icon, you can access other navigation menus. Zoom speed is being one that I change frequently. Walking speed is good for small scenes, but if you have a rather large space, you might find it easier to use fly speed to quickly zoom in or out. You can also use the number quick keys to toggle through these modes. Navigating through your scene graph, you can also hide or delete other items such as the starting base, starting landscape, and ground. Nothing has changed much about the library menu. Here you can still access assets such as trees and other foliage. But now, the option menu on the right is where you control the properties of those items that you place. This particular project was giving me a very European vibe, so I'm going to go into my HDRI Environments menu and select a European scene to add to my space. There's lots of options available to you here, and if you see one you might like to try, you might notice an arrow next to the icon that you'll need to download it first before you can place it. Sign into your Epic Games account first, and then click on the arrow to download. TwinMotion has tried to make this software as light as possible, so the user can download and use as many or few assets as they like. I find the download speed to be pretty fast, so I don't mind this at all. Once downloaded, you can drag and drop the scene into your space. I prefer the HDRI background to be a backdrop HDRI versus the sky dome, so if you prefer this as well, you might need to do another drag and drop onto the approaching storm default. In the Properties menu, here you can rotate your background and adjust the intensity. After playing around with multiple backgrounds, I finally landed on this Venetian Crossroads one. Once applied, I also clicked on the center background. You will notice throughout this project, I will be clicking on the Path Tracer button. This allows you to see what your final render will look like. New to the version 2023 is the ability to change the Path Tracer settings from high, medium, and low. While you are working on your project, I suggest the low mode, as it will render a lot faster. We will change it back to high when we're ready to button things up. Admittedly, my renderings tend to be a bit moody or dark. To adjust this, you can select Ambiance at the top of your Scene menu and adjust the exposure slider under the Global Lighting menu to brighten up your space. Now let's apply some materials. Over on the left, in the Materials section, I start applying materials, starting with the walls. Drag to apply a finish from the library into your drawing. In the new Properties menu, you can adjust things like scale and color. With interior finishes, I also changed the scale of materials applied to cubic UVs. By selecting the cubic UVs option, this will by default give a scale that's better suited for interior finishes. The default library also contains lots of great options for floor tiles. These too can all be adjusted in the Properties menu. When in Rome, marble is the way to go for this scene, but let's adjust the color first. I think I like this option. Okay, now let's place some lighting. I have these two light fixtures here, and I'm going to place an Omni light within to imitate a light bulb. Once you have the light settings adjusted, you can click on the Omni light, then click Ctrl-C to copy, then Ctrl-V to paste. When you paste, you will get this dialog box to create a copy or an instance. If you select Instance, all of the lights will be adjusted together with the same settings. Copy will isolate the changes to the individual item. To give your space some more realism, with your light selected under the Shadows option, click the Enabled button so that the light will interact with your space and create more realistic shadows. Alright, now let's go make some other adjustments. If you're not happy with the plants that you had previously placed in your project, you can delete and replace them with some from the TwinMotion library. While we're in this corner, let's adjust some of the other finishes. New to version 2023 is a lot of options for glass. Since I feel like this is an older space, I'm going to use this item glass to give the windows that older, drippy look that comes with older buildings. If we click on our Main Materials button at the bottom of our screen, you now get a library of the materials that you've used in your project. This is a nice feature to be able to access and reuse throughout your space. Other changes that were made to this new version include lots of new fabrics and carpets to choose from. Just like other materials, you can find one you like and then adjust the color and the scale to your liking. For workstation paint and laminate, I like to apply this glossy plastic finish. I think it has a nice reflection level and serves as a nice systems paint finish. If you watched my previous episodes, you'll know that in addition to scale, you can also control the rotation of your material. For example, if you needed to switch the direction of the wood grain. TwinMotion is in no way as powerful as a planning tool as CET, but you can still make some minor changes to your space fairly easily by deleting items and replacing with items from the TwinMotion library. I feel like this space kind of needs a rug. I'm going to type carpet into our search bar and pick a starter rug. Place your item, and then using our scale and move tools, we can create one that fits our space. Then you can select from the many new carpet finishes to apply to our newly sized rug. You might have noticed that I have hidden and revealed my menus throughout this project. In the new UI, you can easily do this by single-clicking on any of the menu buttons. This gives you more space to view your project and close menus that aren't required at the time. Alright, one last item before we button it up. Remember how I mentioned my spaces were moody? Well, if you want to add some more light to an interior space, you can do this with the area light. But instead of using it as a horizontal plane, you can rotate it to act more like a spotlight. Alright, I think we're ready to finish this European office up. I'm going to close all my menus to get a nice good look at my space. To start the process of exporting, first click on the Media menu, then on the plus sign to create your first image. It's also a nice best practice to click on the ellipsis and rename your image. Under the Camera menu, zooming in or out with the Field of View option. We can also add some vignetting, and if you click under Parallelism, this will straighten out your view, ensuring that vertical lines will always stay vertical regardless of the angle. Under Render, you can adjust the intensity sum. Make sure you also click on the path tracer here and change it from that low setting back to the high setting. I don't personally make any changes under the FX menu, but you can refine further here too. The last menu is the Image menu. In here, I do choose 4K as my option for a high quality export. Last step is to choose the Export menu. Click the plus icon next to the image and select the image you want to export. Click that big blue Export button, save it, and now we wait. I hope that you're not discouraged by this new UI, and I find it very efficient and fun to use. Thanks for watching, and as always, have fun creating.